Greetings, I'm Jeff Carter, Program Specialist with Seattle City Club. Today, as part of our Civic Bootcamp on Native American leadership in the Salish Sea Region, I'll be talking with Cecile Hansen, Chair of the Duwamish tribe. Hi, Cecile, thanks for joining me.
You're welcome.
And also on the call is Tony Wyden, a student at North Seattle Community College and current volunteer with Seattle City Club. Hi, Tony. So we're going to jump right into the questions. Who are the Duwamish people?
The Duwamish people are the indigenous natives in the Seattle area. They were here first before anybody.
And where do they live? What's the region for the Duwamish?
They lived. The region was actually, according to history, was 54,000 acres, which is Seattle. I mean, up north and down to the south. It was the city of Seattle.
And can you tell, I know that you've had a long history of trying to get federal recognition. Can you just summarize the challenges you've had in trying to get recognition?
Well, actually, my involvement of getting a recognition or acknowledgement of this tribe happened in the 70s, and my brother and tribal members were fishing in the Duwamish River. And what happened is that the next thing that the Judge Bolt dealt the negative towards our people. And so my brother, and he was being cited by fisheries before there was a rule against Duwamish fishing in the Duwamish River. So he came to my house. I lived about 3 miles from the river. And so he came to my house and he said, this went after he got upset, he's upset of being cited for fishing in the river. He said, you got to get involved. I said, well, what do I have to do? And he said, oh, just go to a few meetings. This is 1974. And I said, go to a few meetings. And so I just followed him, and we start actively advocating for the right to fish in the Duwamish River. From there, then the following year, in my involvement with the tribe and working with the former chair, his name was Willard Bill. And then he decided in his wisdom to turn the chair over to me in an interim state, which you don't do that. But anyway, in 1975, I was elected chair, and therefore the whole advocacy on my part was to claim fishing rights. Well, what happened, then there was a big deal about the Judge Bolt case, and what happened, the judge ruled against several tribes, which was Duwamish, and we lost our right to fish in the river. So the tribal council and myself decided, well, let's just go and sign a petition and we'll get our rights back and we'll have the right to fish in the Duwamish River. This was in the 70s. So we began the process of proving who we were, 70s and 80s, and we sent our petition in the 80s. And then 2001, I got a phone call from DC on the last day of the Bush administration saying that we were recognized. The following Monday, they put a hold on that decision. And I thought, well, if we get our recognition, then we'll be able to fish in the Duwamish River. Well, the following Monday, they put a hold on that decision. And 7 months later, they denied our recognition. So today, currently since 2001, we are now on appeal of that decision. And it seems to be a very positive feeling that there's so many people supporting our tribe to regain the recognition that was taken away from us. Actually, I would say in the 1850s or 60s when they kicked our people out of the city.
So what would change if you got federal recognition? What would be different for you, for the tribe?
Well, I always say I would kick everybody out of town. No, I wouldn't. No, I'm always joking. You have to have a sense of humor because this has been very difficult, not only for our tribe, but for all the tribes who have to prove who they are, and it's wrong. I think that we got acknowledgement. I would just like everybody to honor this tribe, who are the indigenous people of Seattle, and be respectful to our people. We're not sitting on a reservation. In fact, we just got done with our annual meeting on Saturday in the Longhouse. And this is really odd. We had members in the Longhouse at the meeting, and as I was chairing the meeting, but a lot of them were on Zoom, as you and I are. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So it was really hard to chair this meeting because people were on the screen and asking questions, but they were there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So with federal recognition, could you get land or other kind of benefits?
Well, I would hope that they would help our people with, they had said in the treaty that they would help us with education and health, a reservation, which the reservation they projected was going to be over by Alki in West Seattle. I don't think that's going to happen. There's West Seattle and Alki are pretty well, a lot of people over there occupied. No, I would certainly the doors would open they would help us secure Terminal 107, which is across the street, where originally there was one of our villages, but that property is owned by the Port of Seattle, and they are not very open to that idea, but it'd be nice if we could have that Terminal 107 as part of our, not much, is not very, what, a couple acres?
Yeah. So what is your relationship?
We're not greedy. We're not greedy. We're not greedy.
You're not greedy. You just want a little bit of land back, huh?
Yeah.
So what is your relationship with other tribes in the area, like Suquamish, Muckleshoot, etc.?
Well, I remember in the 70s, we all seemed to, as Indian people, relate to each other. We could gather. And when 1983 kicked in, the Gaming Commission and investors came in, and guess what? Casinos. And then it seemed like if you were friends with these different tribes in the area, it was okay. But since the gaming is since to be a big deal with these tribes, they forgot their traditional Indian way to be supportive of each other, because that's the way it was many years ago. I remember, well, another thing, I was born in Tulalip, but I'm not Tulalip. And there was a hospital there where my mom had me, but I'm not Tulalip. And I never, and then the Tulalip seemed to be against us, our tribe too. But Tulalip, I don't know what treaty they signed. And also Suquamish is where my mother grew up. And so I'm part Suquamish on my mother's side. And then that other one, the Muckleshoots, they never signed a treaty, but they're doing quite well with the gaming, and therefore they don't support I don't know what they think. We're trying now if we can see what their problem is. But I think that they think we want to have gaming in the city of Seattle. And as long as I've been in the chair of this tribe, that subject's never been discussed or even approved. That's what we want. But I did I'll tell you this little story. I was speaking at a graduation class downtown. I said, I want to tell you a secret, but don't you tell anybody. There must have been 300 or 400 people in the crowd. I said, they accused us of wanting to have a casino, and I'm going to tell you a secret. Now, don't tell anybody. We want it in the middle of Elliott Bay. That's where we want our casino. And I could just see them go into shock, because a casino in Elliott Bay to get their attention, but that would never happen. No, that would never. Don't let that, it just would happen.
So what are some of the programs and services you run out of the Duwamish tribe? I know you have the Longhouse and Cultural Center, and you're doing a lot of great work.
Actually, the program that we advocate is we give programs where we used to. I started the language group with the kids about 25 years ago, so my kids would learn the Lushootseed language. Actually, our programs are geared to culturally. The people come in and hear stories and songs, and so we advocate for that, and that there is a Duwamish tribe, because that's what we're trying to tell everybody in the city of Seattle. And the marvelous part of our Longhouse is that people come from all over the world and they find us. And if I'm in the lobby and I greet people there through the years, I said, and they're from South America, they're from Europe, they're from Australia. I can't believe it. And it's really marvelous that they find us, because we're on a bit like an I-5 now, West Marginal Way, and it's really busy, but people still come to visit us, even though we're semi-closed.
What do you think people find surprising? What do they learn about the Duwamish tribe? Do you think people are surprised at learning?
Well, they're always delighted to find that we have a longhouse, because a long time ago, when they kicked our people out of town, they burned down at least 50 of our longhouses where our people live. They burned them down to keep us away. But as I've said through the years, we may not live in a longhouse, but we're still here. Our people are still here and are dedicated to our mission of getting acknowledged by the federal government, the rightful acknowledgement.
And what do you think non-native people need to learn more about the Duwamish that they don't know?
I can't believe that people say, well, we didn't know you were here. And I said, oh my goodness, this is why we always have tours, and we're always making sure that, by having publicity, contacting the papers and letting them know we're still here. So it's amazing that people don't know that we are here. I mean, at least the Longhouse.
And why is it important just for people to know? Why is it important for people to learn about Native history and the Duwamish?
Well, Native people here first before any white people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
True.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You agree?
Yeah. So it gives us a cultural context. We can understand the original inhabitants. Yeah. So can you tell me more about your other programs? I know that you're working on a trail system, a ridge to river trail, and Real Rent Duwamish. Can you talk about those programs?
Well, Real Rent I was really surprised at a volunteer group that supported us when we'd have weddings or gatherings or whatever. And it would be, our big room holds pretty close to 400 people. So we have this one group that always sent their volunteers to help us. Well, several years ago, they decided in their wisdom that they would start Real Rent. So they started it, and now it's in the thousands and thousands of people who pay rent. I'll tell you a story about a couple years ago. One of their staff people came to my office and she said, can you look at this? She had this check in her hand. She said, you think this is real? I said, take it to the bank. It is real. It was a check for $40,000, Real Rent. Wow. And I wish I knew where that guy was, because I want to hug him. No, really, if I find out, they always say, if people come in there and they say, well, we pay Real Rent. And I said, well, I love you because you are so helpful and they can send anything. It doesn't have to be whatever they want to send. It could be $20, it could be $5. It's whatever they feel they want to share. There's no set amount that people send in.
And what is the Real Rent program? What exactly is it?
It's Real Rent. Real simple, Real Rent. You got to join it. Send your dollar in.
So people give money to the Duwamish tribe as part
as
of
rent. Yeah,
for living on Duwamish land. Is that correct?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
that's the point.
Yeah. And then your trail ridge to river trail system and your native reforestation projects. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I don't really know anything about that, but I know it's ongoing. So if you really want to know about this, you're going to have to contact some of the people in the staff, like the director, who is Jolene Hawes,
Mm-hmm.
and her staff, because she the programs there. I show up once in a while to sign a check. I'm working at home, but I'm hoping I mean, I go down, and I was down there, I go down there every once in a while to check the mail and maybe sign some checks. But actually I'm here at home at my office. But I'm hoping that it'll open up so that I can spend more time down there, and we'll open up more for the public, because we
Mhm.
have, I mean, we were having this meeting, people were showing up on Saturday, and we had to turn them away because it was a closed meeting for our tribal members. Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
was surprised. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you talk about the Longhouse a little bit? I've been there. I've actually sung in the Longhouse. It's a beautiful, beautiful space. Can you talk about like how it was constructed, or just the significance of having that Longhouse there?
Well, when I started out, I was renting offices in Renton and in Burien, and I said, we need to have a place of our own. And one of our friends, his name was George Wade, approached me. And he said, can I find you some land? His wife, Arlene, was working with my daughter, who was writing grants for our tribe. And I said, and I thought to myself, this is really weird. It's this man's approaching me about land. And I said, okay, George. He not only found our property, but he took $10,000 of his own money to put for a down payment to the guy that we bought the land. And we're very proud. Now listen to this, it's very proud. We might have gave up 54,000 acres, but we now own 2/3 of an acre. Isn't that great?
Mm-hmm.
And then his wife and our fundraisers, and a good friend of mine, the architect, they designed the Longhouse, and we raised the money to pay for the land, which was over $200,000, which hurts my feeling that we have to buy it, but we paid for it. And then to build the Longhouse and to pay the architect was over $3 million, but we did it. So everything's paid up. It's really a successful. And I thank George, who approached me about buying some land, because I thought this is really weird. Somebody would ask me about land,
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we're happy
And people can visit the Longhouse, right? And go to
all the time. Yeah, we're closed on Monday though.
Okay, and go to the gift shop and support native art.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have,
Actually,
does the tribe have any plans to acquire more land?
well, we bought the property next door. It was a house where we did have our office there we rented the house because we wanted to see what they're doing when they're building the Longhouse. So we were there for 5 years. So we got to watch what they were doing when they're building. It was really fascinating watching the guys, and it's all filmed on pictures. So that was marvelous. So we bought the property from who we rented from. So we now own that little, and that's going to be because parking is really hard in our back of our Longhouse. So we bought it so it'd be easier to develop more parking on that side and to get out of our driveway more easier. But we got to now in the process, I don't know when it's going to happen, to demolish that house and to build the parking lot there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but maybe somebody said they're going to have a coffee shop back there, but I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do that, but I'm not involved in that.
Do you have plans or maybe dreams of acquiring more land, let's say along the Duwamish, or?
I would love to have T107. I hope one day that the Port of Seattle will relent and say, okay, yeah, I'll give it back to you.
Yeah.
Just give it. We don't want to buy it. Port of Seattle's doing well, aren't they?
I assume so. This is kind of a generic question, but what would you say is the Duwamish tribe's contribution to kind of the civic health of our region? If you know, kind of our region in general. What would you say is the contribution to the Duwamish tribe?
Gee, I don't know. That's a contribution to the town.
Well, in terms of probably bringing leadership, bringing awareness of Native culture, bringing a kind of a.
Well, I think that's our point to bring the history of our tribe, but it's really, really hard to work with the city and our elected officials. It's like they don't want to acknowledge us. And this is really sad. And this is a fact. I have tried to meet with every mayor in these many years, sit down to have them pass a resolution supporting our tribe, and it's never happened. And that's a sad, sad thing. I mean, they represent the tribe, the city of Seattle. They should honor the chief because our people are here. But I can't meet with anybody to pass that resolution.
And why do you think that is? Why have they resisted?
Why don't you ask them? You seem to have more talent in asking questions.
Well, how can people learn more about the Duwamish? I know you have a wonderful website, right? And what else? How else can they learn? Going to the Longhouse? What would you say?
Well, there's a petition going on. I think there's over 40,000 people have signed on to support the Duwamish tribe in their quest for acknowledgement. And it's somewhere on the Facebook or somewhere, I'm not quite sure, because I don't have the talent to figure that out, but there's close to 40,000 people, and we just want people to keep on supporting the Duwamish tribe and also to support our quest for acknowledgement as the tribe of this city.
Mm-hmm. Is there a timeline for recognition that you're trying? Is there some sort of deadline to submit something at the petition, or is there?
No, there's not a time. We got recognition in 2001, and we're now on appeal on that decision. And I heard that our attorney is now filing another petition, and I don't know if he's done it yet, but we feel that with the new administration and a new Native American who now heads the Bureau of Indian Affairs, that we might have a little more better take of being acknowledged, if in fact we can be supportive of each other. And in an Indian country, in Indian country. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Well, I don't have any more questions. Is there any final thoughts you might have for folks who are interested?
Well, pay rent and support the Duwamish tribe.
Well,
and I never say that to anybody, but if I got this kind of a platform that they see this, it'd be really nice to come to the Longhouse if it's open. If you can pay rent, that's fine. If you can't, just be supportive of the indigenous people of Seattle, which is Duwamish. And Duwamish means the people of the inside. We don't want to be in the outside by anybody. I don't know where that came from, but it's true. Duwamish means people of the inside.
Meaning the inside, like the inside of the bay, or yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. Really appreciate it.
Well, I hope that I did my best in answering some of your questions. Some of the questions that I could not answer, but you get a hold of anybody like Jolene, and she will refer you to who could probably answer that question for you about trails and stuff. I'm not into trails or that, but I know about it.
Okay. Well, thank you again. I also need to thank our sponsor, Alaska Airlines, for helping sponsor this program. So,
Oh my gosh, airline sponsors. Oh my gosh. Well,
yeah, yeah,
they must fly some of our guests to Seattle then, huh?
they probably do.
Well,
So,
thank you and have a great day,
you
Tony.
too.
Yeah,
Okay,
you too,
take care.
Jeff.
Thank you.